Hi. It is a beautiful Minnesota day. I mean, it's just really nice out. It is. And if you didn't know, now you know. Because, sometimes we fail to see what's like right in front of our face, and we just like take things for granted, and then we just like don't realize that there's like hidden gems all around us all the time. Oh my gosh, there's this awesome bird flying. Oh my gosh, can you see it? Oh, there's another one it met. Oh my god, that's so cool. It didn't want it to go up there. Did you see that? It kicked it off. It kicked it off the stump. That is so funny. Okay, so yes, a lot of times in life we like don't even realize the gifts that we're given. I gotta tell you, I'm reading a book right now that actually I was introduced to a long time ago, and I picked it up and I like totally took it for granted. I was like, okay, this is crap. I'll be honest. I said, this is crap. And I put it down and I put it away. I got it from the library at that time. And I was like, well, that was a total waste of my time. And I remember thinking that was a total waste of my time. In the meantime, like I stayed in this network for a long time, and I was like, oh, okay, I was like asking the universe for signs and like information and stuff, and then it just like clicked to me one day. Like I got an email from the author, and I was like, oh my god, I have to get that book. And I read it this time, and because like my mentality was open, like I'm like, every secret I have needed for the last 10 years is in this book, and I took it for granted right away. And so that just like shows that like we have to stay open in life. We have to stay open to the possibility, because everything we need is like in front of us. It's like waiting to guide us. And if we don't watch, we might have to wait 10 years and 20 years until we finally open our mind. All it really takes is an open mind, because all our answers that we need in the moment are there. So like, pay attention to the signs, pay attention to how you're feeling about things, because like there's something there. And, yes, so it's a beautiful day here. I've had my first CD in my car for at least a month now. And I failed to realize how many emotions I captured in that album. So this is actually one of the songs. And to give you a little background, my first album, Fresh Blood, was an experimental album. My journey in music has been about creating my own sound. And I actually haven't released my next album, which I hope to capture this sound. I actually had it in my head while I was creating my first album, like this vision of what it was going to sound like. And it's taken a lot of work and a lot of skill in different areas to get it all together. So the first album I did, Fresh Blood, was my experimental album. And I call it experimental because I was trying new things. And not only was I trying new things, I was finding my voice, and I was experimenting in the process. I was learning how to songwrite. I was learning how to record. I was learning how to be in the studio. I was learning how to perform. I was learning how to become a professional musician. And so it's like it captures that moment in time for me. And I don't know how many times I did a lot of these songs, but it's still a really rough album. And the reason why I put that album out is because I was in a certain period of my life and I was struggling. It was hard, and I used that opportunity of my difficulties to kind of stay in the background with my music and to find my way organically. And I took as much time as I needed to really not only feel good about myself, but feel good about what I wanted to be in the world. So this is another one. And I rap. And so I capture a lot of these different elements in this first album. It's 19 tracks. It's called Fresh Blood. It has a picture of me with a black eye on the cover. It's just like bam in your face. Yeah, and that's a real black eye. So this process of discovery, you know, has been happening. So I released this album in 2014, and you know, then I released my second album, and I'm also a poet, and that's part of my songwriting. And so, but you know, essentially, like the song vision that I'm going to is going to encapsulate all these different areas. Not a lot, just a few main points of what makes me unique as an artist. And so I'm really, really, really excited about creating that next album when the time comes. I've got a goal on my Patreon page to start working on it when I hit so many members. So that's one of the things I'm working up to right now. But since this has been in my car for so long, I'm just like, I'm kind of amazed because I haven't taken it out. I've just kind of had it in the back, and I've been listening to the radio or just not listening to anything. But every once in a while I'll put on the album, and it seems like no matter what mood I'm in, I have a song on there that captures it. And I think that is so cool because when I was writing the album, you know, it was a very dark time, and I wanted all those different emotions in there. I didn't want it to be all negative emotions because I mean, I was really angry about my life, and I was angry about what I was dealing with, and you know, that was part of my process. And I tried to capture like the things I really cared about and other things in there too, like what I wanted life to look like eventually. So it's kind of cool that all of this stuff is in there, and it's fun to go back to it because it really captures like a playful spirit that I think as we grow into adults, like we have to consciously be playful. Like we're taught, you know, we're just naturally playful as kids, and then life gets in our way and we're like, you know, we become all serious and injured, right? We have to keep reminding ourselves of our true nature, which is really playful and fun. And so and it's raw too. Like at our essence, we're raw. We're like, you know, when we are being ourselves, we don't have time to filter. We don't have time to plan. We're just gonna be, you know, and being is our ultimate goal as humans. If we can just be, like everything else comes naturally. So here we've got another song. I mixed this up a little bit. So, you know, I do have like when I was living in LA, I used to do mixed tapes, with, you know, record players and mix different sounds together. And so there's a couple of these tracks on this album that I do a little bit of mixing. I didn't put a lot of it in there. But I'm going to go over a little bit, just kind of give you a taste of the different elements that I have in this album and what it captures and like what the spirit of it is. So this is another one, and it's funny, I remember introducing these tracks, you know, before I had a public platform to people, and I remember that someone's kid listened to the song and they loved dancing to it, and I have like memories of how my music was influencing people before I even really released it. And then even when I released it, I actually only released it to friends and family, so it's been, you know, there's been a lot of work that's been put in to what I'm doing right now. It hasn't been like an overnight thing. It's been I've been very, very careful. And the discovery process has been continuing, and now I'm really working on bringing it all together and making it all fit together. Oh. I didn't even know my radio went off after that long when the car is off, because I normally don't leave it on that long. So I'm gonna roll down my window. Let's see if it's nice out. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we go. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I'm on track 14 right now. It's called Killer. It's called Killer. Killer Cam, Killer Cam Cam. Now I'm gonna go to track 2. And this is really one of the fun songs. It's Melody. And it's all about music, but I'm rapping in it. And I wrote a music page called Melody Monthly for 5 years. That was like pre-Patreon. And I think I'm going to do more writing actually for the Patreon page, and I'm evolving that idea some more now. But this song was, the melody is written like my newsletter was, Melody. It's M-E-L-O-D-E-E. The drug that beats, let me give you some. So this is a very smooth song, and it's very fun. And if you love music, you will love this song. Because it talks about how, you know, you just want to be around the music. And that's essentially my life. That's essentially one part of my life. So yes, I rap in that. Then we got Fly. This was the last track that I did. And this idea of flying has been in my mind for a long time. One of the poems that I put in the first album actually was called, I don't remember what it's called, but it's about standing on the edge of a cliff and you look down and you just like let go of everything that life taught you to be like, and you find who you are in this flight. And then there's like the mix of the suicidal part of it too, because I think when you start to really embrace yourself, it makes you feel like, at first it'll make you feel really isolated. It'll make you feel like you're doing something wrong because you're not doing what everyone else is doing. You're finding your own spot. And so there's that crazy like way you can look at it, like almost like a suicide, because it's a suicide of things that are imposed on us, and it's a freedom of the self. And it's just kind of funny that you can mix around with that and become like, it's a suicide of you know, standard, but it's a freedom of self. And so how those things mix together is very interesting. And you know, you really have to go deep within and say like, is this right for me or is this not right for me? And then you just find your place, and then once you get there, you just don't want to let it go. So this one's Can't Get Enough. And this actually is kind of close to like the whole sound, because I got the piano in there, a piano loop, and we got like the different instruments, we got the rap, we got the singing, but it's still a very organic, raw form of it. And I wrote this song, Can't Get Enough, about my experience of love in the world, and how like, you know, I just didn't feel like people, you know, love, like the word gets misused so much. And we start to think like, you know, that certain things are love, and this is love, and this is love. You know, it has to be in a certain way. And like, really, love is like, you know, if you believe in the biblical stuff, love is like an all-encompassing principle, and it can't fit into a way. It just will be or it won't be. And so this is called Can't Get Enough, because it's about divine love and the sense of like godliness, and how, you know, the power of love never dies. And a lot of people don't understand that. So that's the story behind that song. Then I've got this song, Oh Shady One, is my signature style of piano and rapping. Just piano and rapping. That's all I did on this song. I have the piano and then I rap on it. So it's a totally different element here. You go into, and actually the song is about, you know, a shadiness.
I can't be sure how he's coming, but I want to break free. Don't call to come around no more, I'm loud and clear to be. Apart from your direction, need the space for friends to bless this. I ain't sure about that face, smiling but you wanna erase. My little face so tiny but it's tight, the night is coming where the way treats others is how it treats me, I'm ready to fight. These times are tough, I gotta keep myself tight. How would I go about that if I keep you in my life? I got this and I know it, understand just how you going when you come and about love. You want more, not giving none, consider people's worth possessions. No time to think and check, this gotta go before you mess me up. This is overdue and I'm tired, my relationship is long expired.
So yeah, this just explores that whole concept. Totally original song. All of these are totally original, my own creations. It's been part of my process, like I said, of finding my way in the music industry. Then we have Trouble. This actually is a favorite of some people's, and it's all about getting in trouble. The whole song. It's actually, it was fun to do this album because I just really didn't fit to the standards of what a song was supposed to look like. Like if I wanted to just play a track and rap for 5 minutes, I did it, and it's essentially like the bulk of this song is mainly that. There's like one little part where it goes, you know, but pretty much the whole song I just rap. I like straight up rap for like 5.5 minutes or 6 minutes. And so in order to find my own unique way, I had to break all the boundaries down. Anything that a song was supposed to be, if I didn't want to do it, I just let myself not do it, which was really fun. It was really fun, and even when I listened to it at first, it was like, okay, this is making me uncomfortable. Like, you know, it doesn't sound like a song is supposed to sound like, right? And I like that I let myself do that.
Making confessions, taking cops, checking this cheat is dead eye.
My brain's so not fried. So keep the tuna, I take the rest. Don't forget that when it's trouble, you are dealing with the best. One thing I always do right. It's hard to beat my dynamite. And this isn't just like words I put on paper. This is how I lived my life. These were my thoughts on life. It wasn't just some crap I made up. I lived these stories. I lived this experience. Can't Get Enough was written after an extremely violent, toxic, intimate relationship that I was in. It was actually my last one. It was a hell of a long time ago. Yeah, and that's how that song came to me. This one came to me, you know, it was just part of the way I was living my life. I was living my life, and it was all about trouble. I was like, I was trouble. I was trouble. And the hook on this song is taking the time to get in trouble. I you know, whatever. So let's see what else we got here. Here's the No Shame again. So that's track 12. And I'm not sure if I said it, but there's 19 songs on this album. 19 songs. It's a whole journey. It's like 75 minutes long or something. This is Reverse This Curse. For a long time, this was my favorite song because it wasn't like an actual prayer, but it kind of was. It was like, you know, music is a vibration, and so it connects us with our divine nature. It connects us with truth. What we listen to is how we're vibing in the world. And this song, Reverse This Curse, was about, you know, all the stuff that I was talking about. You know, it was all my life, but I didn't necessarily want it to be like that. You know, I wanted something more for myself, and this was about, you know, if you pray, what you do in prayer is you just kind of unarm yourself, and you look at things. It's the same as meditation or whatever your spiritual practice is. You know, you unarm yourself so you can look at things without judgment, you know? It's just like, hey, I don't like this, you know? And then part of our journey is to find out why, you know? We don't have to force our answers on ourselves. I just knew, like, reverse this curse. was how I was feeling at this time in my life. Oh, gotta turn the car back on again. And I was really feeling this, and I listened to this song a lot for a while. And I do listen to my own music. Some artists do, some don't, but the reason why I do is because I am a creator, and it helps me evolve, to help look over where I was. And I also like looking at things like, am I writing about the same thing? Because for me, life is a journey. I don't want to be stuck in like love songs for, you know, well, I mean, not there's anything wrong with love songs, but I want to allow my creativity to grow with me. I don't want it to always be the same thing. I want to have new discoveries, and I'm about growth, and I'm about learning. So if I'm stuck on the same subject for 10 years and it hasn't evolved to a place, I'm probably stuck in my life. You know, I'm probably stuck in my life and I haven't figured out what's really going on. And so that's the importance of spirituality and creativity. It helps us grow. 333. It's 333. That's cool. Oh my gosh, and my miles are 000. Yeah, it's a new chapter. Signs are everywhere. Okay, this actually, this unedited, like, crazy, like, little a cappella flow thing was a song I wrote when I was in Rome. And it was my first song I ever, it was the first thing I actually wrote as a song. And so I left it just raw, like just my voice, and I just played with it for a little bit. Yes, I love this. I love sharing this with you right now. Let's see. Okay, now we're going, we got the first one, No Regrets. And I'll tell you a story about this song. I did this song at a rap thing in Winona one time, and I was the only white person there. I think there was I was the only female white rapper that performed in the thing. And afterwards, everyone was calling me like Tupac and Queen Latifah and stuff. It was just really funny. And I ended up hanging out with a lot of those guys for a long time. Then I moved on in life. Not that I moved on from them, I just moved, like literally moved. Yeah, this song, I performed it actually a really lot. The recording, I'll be honest, the recording isn't my favorite recording of it. It's not my favorite version. I like doing it live a lot. Then, you know, I think we're coming to the end of what's going on here. So 3 was the Jammin' Rap. It actually talks about a little bit about my signature and what I was creating at the time. I have this part on it. Jill Marie is here, hanging like a chandelier, the first part a drug name with a soft dart. Cops that need to know that, they're broken like I share that. Not with them, I can't, I'll be moving on and transplant. Jillian, we can't figure me out, pussycat. My parents aren't formal and I know my habitat. So then, you know, this also talks about like, you know, my name and where it came from. Just really basic self-discovery things. Suicide. It's actually about when someone kind of like takes their own blessings out of their life, you know, like when we act in bad ways, like we lose our good stuff, we lose the good things in life. And so the song Suicide is about that. It's about how our actions, our own actions, our own responsibility actually steal the joy and blessings out of our life. Then we've got The Body You Meet, which is actually about dancing. The whole song is about dancing. And I had a grand vision for this song. I didn't actually hit it. I'm just being honest. I didn't actually hit what my grand vision for this song was, but I did talk about dancing. Hey, body you meet, here to greet. Yeah. Okay, then we got a little drumming thing. Very little short drumming thing. Okay, this is Dear Dad. It's actually a letter I wrote to my dad, and I made it into a song. I'm like, this would be a nice song. And this is more of a rock. This is more of a rock song. So when I did my album release party for this album, it was on a private farm, and we actually had a band there. It was me on the keyboard and singing and rapping, and then a bass and a drummer. So it was pretty basic, but it was fun because I played with like how to make it into like more of a rock music and to evolve the sound. And you know, a lot of people will call this music a lot of different things. It's not, you know, where I'm going, you know, with my next album and my future, but there's a lot of different things in it. It's got the dance, it's got the rock, it's got the indie rock, it's got the rap, it's got the you know, the hip hop. It's got a lot of different stuff. So yeah. And then you got the piano. I think I hit all of them except for maybe one. Oh. Okay, this one's called Release Your Fears. It's more of a dance track. And then To Be Free was another one that I really blurred the boundaries on what a song would be. I actually don't have an official hook in the song, like a chorus, but I do have this line that I use a couple of times, which is, do you want the happiness to be free? And it's all about the choice to be honest or to be shady in your life. And it's called To Be Free, and the whole song is really about like that dynamic of like, do I choose to be true to myself, or do I choose to, like, you know, go the other way? And it plays it out in stories on like this one guy gets murdered, and you know, and how friendships, like, you know, how your friendships start to reflect these choices, these really basic choices that we make. And I think I rap on this one for a really long time, like 6 minutes or something, but and I do a little bit of mixing in this one too. It was fun to do that. And then I go like way off into left field. If you've been following me a while, you might notice I do that sometimes just because it feels right at the time, okay? This is like a Christian song. I've actually sang this in church. It's called Come to Me, Father. And it was more of like, you know, what I wanted to bring in. I wanted to bring in more of like, you know, not necessarily like religious standards or anything like that. That's boxy, and that's not even really our ultimate potential. It's another way that we're controlled in some ways. But I did want to bring more of my divine nature in my life, and I wanted to find my source of pulling that into my life. And so I called this Come to Me, Father. And it's actually really beautiful. It's a really beautiful piano song that I composed in my dad's basement when I was really having a hard time connecting. And usually if we can't connect to others, it's because we haven't connected to our source, our lifeblood, our essence, you know, our divine essence. I like the word divinity a lot, and I like the word divine because I think it talks about like our ultimate potential. The divine is our ultimate potential. So this is the very last track on the album, and I'm so glad that you are listening to this with me. I am actually going to put up a downloadable copy of this album. It's a collector's item now. I'm going to put it on my download store, so that will be available. People love this album. People actually really love this album. And if you don't love it, it's probably because you haven't given it a chance. You probably wanted it to be a certain way, and you're like, oh my God, this is screwing with my head. You know, and that's its intention. You got to give it a chance, and you got to see it through, and then you'll find something, you'll find some magic in there, and you'll find some truth, and you'll find that it takes you somewhere unexpected. So this is your introduction, probably a lot of you, to my album Fresh Blood, and I'm thankful to be able to share it with you and to share my experience with it and my experience creating it. Thank you for checking out my video. I'll see you all soon. Bye.